Hey, I'm Liz from No Trace, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a simple zipper pull out of fabric. So let's go. There are a few different things I really love about making a fabric zipper pull, and one is that it's a really great way to use up small scraps of fabric as narrow as 1 inch. The other thing I love is that these are a nice alternative to leather if you're vegan or vegetarian and you're avoiding leather products. It's also a nice alternative to synthetics, so fake leather or cork fabric or nylon. So you can use 100% natural fibers, and at the very end of its life, your little fabric zipper pull can be composted. To make your fabric zipper pulls, you need a bias tape maker. And this little guy is a 12 millimeter clover bias tape maker. So 12 millimeters is about 1 inch. And this is what we're gonna use to make our zipper pulls. You'll also need either a seam ripper to move the fabric through the bias tape maker, or if you have an awl, one of these little tools, you can use that. But I just usually use my seam ripper. This is usually at the bottom of my toolbox. So seam ripper works great. And then you're gonna need some clips to hold your fabric in place when you take it over to the machine. And then of course you're gonna need an iron to work with the bias tape maker, so I'll show you how to do that. All right, so this fabric has been cut down to 1 inch in width, and then this one is about 11 inches long and this one's about 12 inches long. You could really do them longer than that or even a little shorter than that. It kind of depends on your preference. So let's get them in the bias tape maker. So you're going to want to put your fabric with the pretty side down into the back side of the bias tape maker, and you just slide it in there. And this is where you could use a seam ripper if you need a little extra help to push it through. And then it immediately starts to come out with a fold made in it. And this is where you get your iron and you just press that fabric down while you're pulling back on the bias tape maker. And just go all the way down your strip. And you can see it's creating a nice crease there on 2 sides. So we'll have totally finished edges. Okay, and just press that. And now we need to press it again. So we have this nice 2 edges folded towards the center line, and now we need to fold it again. And this is where it gets a little bit fussy, and you're gonna have your clips handy to get your fabric to stay put. Okay, so you're folding it one more time in half, and then again you're going to press it with the iron all the way down, so you have a nice skinny strip of fabric with no raw edges except at the very end. And now we'll take our clips and just clip it in a few spots so that we can really hold that crease in place. And I always like to use binder clips because these are metal, and I try to avoid buying plastic stuff even if it's reusable. So now we're ready to sew. All right, so now we're at the sewing machine and I'm giving you a real close-up look. What we're going to be doing is stitching right along this open edge with I like to put my stitches at a 3 millimeter, so I bump it up a little bit from the default. And you might find that getting started is a little bit fussy because this is a really tiny piece of fabric. So I have a couple of tips to help with getting started. So number 1 is to make sure you have both of your threads up and out to the back. So get those threads out of the way. And number 2, you might want to take a small scrap of fabric and use it as a leader piece. So that'll help the feed dogs to catch and move the fabric forward. So I'm putting that there. And then the other tip is to start a little bit down from the very edge. Okay, so I'm going to start it right about there. And I'm going to go forward a few. And then I'm going to go back. Move my hand out of the way. All the way to the end. And now we're going to go forward again. And this is where we might want to grab onto these threads and help the fabric move forward. Okay, we are moving along here. Normally I would use a fabric that blends, but I wanted to use a contrasting fabric so you could really see the stitches as they go. So I'm taking the clips out before I get to them. And just go all the way straight down. And when I get to the end, I'm going to do some back stitches. And if you find it starts to bunch, you could also do a scrap of fabric as an end piece. But what I find happens is that if it does a little bit of bunching, it usually smooths itself out shortly after that. Okay. All right. And we can check our work, make sure that we caught both sides of this little strap, and we did. So once you've finished stitching it, just trim off those loose threads. And then we're going to put it through our zipper pull. There's another little loose thread. There we go. Okay, now this is so thin that it should fit through most zipper pulls. So just put it on through, and then what I like to do is tie a knot near the end. That'll help with any fraying that could happen, but also I just like the look of that. So just wrap it around and tie a knot. And now you're done, and it looks really cute. If you're really worried about this fraying over time, you could fold in the edges before you start sewing at the top and the bottom edge. But I have found that this works just fine, and you really don't need to do that. I'm gonna link below to our Facebook group for zero waste sewing and crafting. So if you wanna get in there and share what you're working on, share some zero waste sewing tips and tricks, we'd love to see you in there. So go to the link below to join. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to the No Trace channel to get notified about all of our videos when we put them out. We release a new video every week on zero waste sewing and zero waste living tips. Thanks so much for watching this video. I really hope that this inspires you to get out there and make a bunch of super cute fabric zipper pulls for all of your bags. So I'll see you again very soon. Bye.